Hello and welcome back to Game Spoils. I am still building in Landmark. You might have noticed that a bunch of trees have appeared. There was a big patch last night, and it restored all of the trees to the property, as well as adding some, and making some that constantly reappear no matter how many times I delete them. So we will just have to deal with that. I'll be working around the trees for the moment. So they don't really seem to want to be moved, so I have to use the delete tool. It's a little awkward. But the point of this particular video is I was clearing out this space here for my next part of my construction, which is going to be a building, kind of a somewhat tall but not super tall building here on this ledge that will connect to the tower via a bridge. But while I was doing it, I was getting some prep work done, and since it was going to take a long time, I was smoothing out the irregular edges of this cliff face. But then I realized that some people probably don't know quite how to approach this, so I thought I'd do a quick video about it. Now, the thing is, you don't want to have stuff like this, and anybody who's placed a claim in this game and had a cliff or a hill or something, and you tried to dig into it or build off of it, you've ended up with these ugly square things. I'm not even going to get into the fact that the texture of grass that you can place is completely different from the texture of grass that already exists in the world, so it doesn't blend. I'm sure that's something that will be adjusted in the future, and there's no way to place grass either, for that matter. But it's actually a very simple concept, but it's time-consuming. There's no real way to make it quicker, so I will just kind of walk you through the concept here, and then continue smoothing that out off screen, because, frankly, it's really dull. What ends up happening is you plonk down your dirt thing, and you end up with this perfect square. And you want to make it smooth, and you'd think, oh, well, I've got a delete tool, and deleting removes little chunks like that. But there's a circle mode. And the thing is, if you use this, it can kind of work if you want to do like a rough irregularization. But generally speaking, it makes it look more like somebody took a cannon to your structure rather than looking natural. So what you have to do is you have to approach it the same way that the world is structured, which I will show you in a second here, assuming that the game will let me. This occasionally crashes, so if it does, I will simply reload and edit that out. Because if we turn off voxel smoothing, which causes, all the terrain to disappear, without the smoothing, this is the way that the world is built. Little tiny cubes. Hold on, I need to wait for the gears to go away. There we go. So basically, if you want to have natural looking terrain, you have to recreate structures like this in order for it to look right. So it's actually really simple, but yeah, it takes some time. Let me just turn smoothing back on, because it kind of makes all the work I did on that tower look really, really pointless. Kind of glad that toggle's there. It's good for this sort of thing. No crashing this time. Excellent. Nope, I spoke too soon. Alright, well, now that I'm back in here. So if you want to make your cube look more natural, basically you just have to, and you want to use the smallest brush for this, really, for the fine details, just break up the corners. You want to create steps, basically. And structures like this. You want to avoid certain things. Like this here, when you smooth it, will look terrible. You want to keep it fairly smooth, and you don't want to do, like, teeth. So you don't want to have structures like this, because, again, that does not smooth very well. You want to keep things a bit gradual, and you can add and remove chunks until you get something that looks somewhat natural. You want it to be fairly irregular. It's the same concept as, say, trying to terraform in Minecraft, where the more you kind of work at it to make it look more uniform, the worse it's actually going to look. You want to keep it fairly rough. And then once it's ready, you hit it with your smooth tool and smooth out. However, with this, I found that setting it into a banding box like this, and then just hitting the box with the smooth tool a few times, has the best results. And then you end up with something that looks a heck of a lot more natural than your cube. Now, the more irregular you make it, the more natural you make it. Gradual slopes make it look, well, gradually sloped. In my case over here, I'm trying to make a bit of a cliff face. You want to use a mixture of dirt and grass. It just tends to look better. But that's more of a texture blending thing. And you can adjust things later with the replace tool, which... Did I make that? Oh, I did. Yeah, the paint tool. Damn it. There. The paint tool, so you can, say, come through and... say, insert some copper. And it will just make it look really nice. Which is the entire point of the paint tool. So, there you go. Hopefully that's of some help. The next video where I'm actually building something is probably going to be in a day or two, because I have a lot of construction to do here. And I also need to gather a whole bunch of resources, because I'm really low on stone. That looks like a lot of stone. That is not a lot of stone. Hopefully somebody has found this useful, and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching.